Hi, so in this Pieces to Piece interview, I'm chatting to Cate Mackenzie, who is a love coach, psychosexual therapist, and a couples counsellor. In this interview, she shares so much beautiful, heart centered wisdom. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this real gift to your heart. So, hello, Cate.
Hi, Jacqui. Hi, lovely to be with you.
It is so lovely to be with you because Cate transformed my life just over 4 years ago.
Oh, you're so
Kate,
generous. You did it all, obviously. But
you held the space.
well, bless your
I
heart.
mean, yeah. And because you hold such an exquisite, amazing, beautiful space.
Oh,
And I'm so excited to have this interview with you.
oh, bless you, Jacqui. Thank you.
It's true.
Very nice. It's very nice of you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, so you call yourself a love coach,
Psychosexual,
psychotherapist,
psychosexual therapist,
psychosexual therapist,
couples counsellor.
couples counsellor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, and I'd be really interested to know how you got into it as well.
So when I grew up in Battersea and in a very community-based street. We were in and out of each other's houses, and
Oh
a lot of parties and people connecting. And
yeah.
I had a neighbour who played reggae every day, and I went after school and danced with her every day. And my parents had people over all the time. There was that sense of community.
Mm.
And when I was 12, my neighbour died very suddenly.
Right.
And shortly after that, it seemed like many of the neighbours in the street moved. My parents split and we moved to a different area, and we were not in that same community spirit. And I realised now I was heartbroken over the loss of that neighbour. But I didn't know that. I didn't even know those words. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew was I shut down. And instead of feeling like I was love, I felt like love was outside of me, and I had to kind of try and get it through romance or music or poetry. And but I knew there must be a way back, because I kind of knew that I had been in that place where I'd felt
Yeah.
supported and loved, and I felt like love, even if life was really difficult, and it can be for children. I had this haven where I danced regularly, and I had this sense of community. And I kind of knew there was somewhere to go back to, but I'd lost it. But I didn't know the way back. And I prayed about that every day. I asked about that every day as a teenager. Please show me the way to love. And I went to Manchester to study sociology, and I ended up training to be what's called a workshop leader, teaching
Oh
dance,
yeah.
teaching dance and drama
Yes.
in community settings. So I became what's called a community artist. And the day I went on that course, I felt myself realign.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, wow, something's coming back. And then through my teaching, mainly with people with disabilities, I felt my heart melting. I felt my heart melting through the love. And
Oh, I've worked with special needs.
you know,
It just takes you into the heart.
So I was feeling myself melting and melting, and and again community, again love, again connection. And because of my heartbreak, I was keeping people away from me. I didn't even know any of that, but because of the love, I could feel my heart was hard. And over time, and I did many more trainings, I thought, you know what? I'm wondering if there's other people like me. I'm wondering if there's other people like me who are living a smaller life, who, because of heartbreak, because of grief, because of loss, and they can't dare to take a risk, and they're not doing anything creative. And so from 98, I started to do talks and then workshops and then working all around the world. And then in 2011, I was running a workshop where I had some people who were very, very, very hard bitten by relationships, by divorce, and they didn't believe in love. And they asked me I was running a course on painting, dancing, writing, getting in touch with that inner child part, play, love, to get in touch with loving yourself. And they were like, you've got to give us the intellectual reason for love. And honestly, I didn't have one. And I got very flummoxed because I thought, I got scared thinking, oh my goodness, I haven't got one. I need one. And I really experienced how dangerous love is for people. Dangerous, because yes, dangerous. That people, it's a scary area. It's so vulnerable. It's so tender, and for many people, and it's like, I can't go there. And if you're going to try and get me to go there, I can't go there. And so from that moment, I thought I have to train. I have to train to be a therapist, because this is really difficult. Relationships feel dangerous. Relationships feel difficult for people. And I've got to go and learn more. And so I trained to be a sex therapist, and 2 couple counseling courses, hypnotherapy training, other trainings, because I thought I have to go and learn about it. So now I know so much, like PEA, phenylethylamine, is when we fall in love. It's a hormone.
Oh, wow.
Oxytocin is the happiness hormone when we touch
someone,
look into their eyes. Dopamine gives you a pleasure rush in the brain. So I've now learned and they've even studied that heartbreak has a physical effect in the heart. It's actually a physical thing.
Wow.
When people, they say, they died of heartbreak, or they became ill with heartbreak, there's a real thing that happens in the heart. So what I've discovered is you can now look at love in an academic way. If you want to, you can look at it through hormones, through the body, through the nervous systems, what happens through the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And so to help people, how do you get yourself relaxed? How do you get yourself safe? How do you build up a safety network of friendships and things that you do?
That's all part of the hormones and the...
Yes, if you can imagine, if people are getting stressed and nervous, which they do around dating or relationships, cortisol, adrenaline, testosterone through their system, it's not very sexy, and it's going to cut off. This is what I'm working with couples with, is that couples come in often because they're arguing all the time.
Yeah.
So they've got the stress hormones running through.
Yeah.
And when I teach them how to relax, calm down, hold hands, come into their heart, breathe, look into each other's eyes. They remember the love hormones, so they're back in their heart. They remember the happiness they had when they first met.
I can really feel that in my heart. Yeah.
So that's a huge privilege now, and so in some ways, working with a couple is working with a group, because it's 2. It's like coming from learning about that connectivity from the people with learning disabilities and my early childhood. I now understand that basically I was regulated every day with the dance and the connection. I was regulated with a place to let go, to dance, to have connection, to have love, to have community, and also letting go, activity, and also a sense of giving, because when you feel you're in community and you're connecting with others, you feel like you have purpose, because you feel like you're important, which is why connecting and community, that's why people die without it. You probably know this, but Bowlby studied orphanages after the Second World War, and children who were given food and clothing died without love, without connection, without being touched. And they found out that actually lack of connection is equivalent to 15 cigarettes a day. Isolation is equivalent to 15 cigarettes a day, because you pull in, you get squashed in. So it's a really big deal having connections, learning how to reach out. But of course, like I'm saying, it can feel like a big risk. So part of my job is, how do you do that safely? And with couples, how do they safely come together and talk about really big things that are important to them? And so that's my job, to create that safe space.
And you do that so well.
Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you very much. That's so kind.
Because that's, and I know kind of, so where I said kind of like, you know, you brought about a transformation in my life is, it was a workshop down in Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
yes. With
it was that giving and receiving activity that just set off all of these realizations about how this how vulnerable receiving felt, but how controlling giving can be if you're using it to kind of avoid vulnerability.
You're so on it. Just that little exercise is quite unbelievable.
Yeah.
Notice what we are doing in life, isn't it?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I was sobbing in the car on the way home at the realization of these patterns.
Yes.
And then I just felt chunks of energy kind of leaving my body. And 2 weeks later, that's when Tony, my partner, first got in touch with me.
You were ready, which is what you so got. Is the strange thing is that people think, you know, we just get things, or we get a partner, or we buy a home, or we start a new career. We get ready to receive it. That's really true.
Yeah.
Because they could everything could turn up. But if we're not actually ready to say thank you and ready to receive it, the defense comes down. Literally, that's what I've discovered about the relational field is literally, even if it's a warm interaction, if somebody's not ready to receive, the defense will come up.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's partly because when we were in communities a long time ago, we were built for a little bit of negativity, because if somebody found a poisoned berry, they needed to make sure everybody knew there was a poisoned berry, or the whole village would die. So there's a built-in part of us to protect.
Yes.
So unless we are kind of grounded and regulated and calm and ready, we don't know what that person's approaching us for. We don't know if they're going to be a dangerous person. So we need a lot of support to take risks. See why isolation, in the end, people can just withdraw. And I think loneliness is a really big deal. And how do you create community? And it helps everybody. You know, if you adopt an older person as a granny, or you or a friend, or a young, you know, if we all adopt each other as community, it helps everybody.
Which is actually, I was going to ask you, because I know in your profile it said something about giving people the tools to have the relationships with others and with themselves that they desire, and then you relate that to manifesting the life of your dreams.
Yes.
And could you speak a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, one thing I've really learned, perhaps even recently, especially the last year, is that couples get isolated.
Oh, right.
Yeah, couples can have couple isolation. So what does that mean? It means that for some reason there's some kind of pressure to make out couples are perfect.
Oh yeah.
And it's all going well.
All of the problems have been solved.
All fantastic. And especially in the coaching era, it can be really tempting to say, oh, I had terrible relationships, but now I've got the marvelous relationship, and here's marvelous person. And the thing about relationships is they go up, they go down all the time, because it's growth, it's life, and you know, it's contraction, expansion. In my work, you know, we say that a problem is not a disaster, and it's an adventure waiting to happen, because when you hit difficulties, often you get this new change. And that's how you look at it. So true. You look at a creative life or a working life. When you get a problem, that's how science discovers things. Same in couples. Now, it's you know, each time there's a difficulty, depending how you handle it. So this is the key. Now, if you're in a couple and you've got couple shame, and you're not wanting to show the world, you want to show the world it's all perfect, it's all wonderful, and you're not able to have what we call empowered vulnerability, where Empowered vulnerability means you've got safe people to check in with. So for couples, that would be safe people, maybe other safe couples, or safe people that where you can be vulnerable. You can say, oh, you know, oh, I had a difficult time with this, with them the other day. And with safe people, they're not going to go, well, chuck them, or you should do this. They can hear you.
Yes.
Now, then the couple can get, as the couple gets supported, they find out, oh, yeah, in that person's couple, they also had that kind of problem, or they found their traumas collide. Traumas being where people had knocks early in their life, perhaps, keep triggered. In my work, we call it a survival knot, where you might...
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot. I like that terminology.
They might hit the same thing. And that's where someone like me can kind of help someone untangle that and see why one person's anxiety might make the other one person feel controlled. But what I'm trying to say to you is, if a couple's going round and round and round with couple shame and they're hitting the same blocks and they're never telling anyone, that is draining the energy out of their relationship and their lives.
Wow.
Very draining.
Yeah.
To pretend it's all right.
Yeah.
Which is a pressure I feel in our Western society. I think there's a pressure on many levels to pretend it's all right. If you take on board the idea that it's okay to have growth and ups and downs, and that being in a relationship is constant rupture and repair, because if you can let someone in quite close, they're going to hit your vulnerable parts. Your meditation teacher ain't going to do it in the same way. Your therapist ain't going to do it in the same way, but your partner going to go in a wonderful way and a horrific way, going to touch all these parts. If you can be okay with that and get enough support for that and have tools. So what kind of tools? Listening tools, contracting tools, like making agreements on how you work out finances or communication, making agreements on literally how do we date, holidays, have sex, even if you want to have sex, because people think it all happens spontaneously, and then there's a lot of misery. So what I'm trying to say to you is that when we have that's being in a couple, if you have quite a lot of tools being in a couple and support, that you can be vulnerable, you can be in growth, you can have difficulties, it can roll along, but you've got enough tools, you've got enough support, then your energy can go to create the life you want. Then as a couple, you can kind of
right. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And also same with an individual. If an individual has, safe people, practices they do, if they have affirmations they say to themselves, whatever it is, their things daily, ground them and balance them. If you're in balance daily, you can move towards your goals. And I believe that we manifest what's actually already in there in your heart. So when you're balanced, you have more brain space.
Yeah.
Like if you have enough empowered friendships, empowered vulnerable friendships, meaning people you can be genuine with. They're not going to judge you for saying,
or rush in with advice and tell you what to do, and
unless you ask for it, exactly, like unless you say, look, how do I do this? But they're not forcing it on you. So
no.
If you've got that, then if you have an issue and you can check in, the issue doesn't have to last another day. It doesn't have to last months. And so if you stay balanced, you move towards your dreams, and then you can create action plans. If you want to write a book, if you're staying balanced every day and you got support and you say, well, I'm going to do an hour a day, half an hour a day, it's more likely to happen. Does this make any sense? So this this balance, the tools, the connections, the living a life in a certain way with a certain amount of activity, a certain amount of giving, which makes you feel like you've got purpose. Letting go, how do you let go? So you're not always thinking. And creative learning, how are you allowing that part of you to grow? If you're not in drama, and that's the tools and the connections, if you're not in drama or shame, which means, are you able to share your vulnerability openly and be supported in that place, which breaks shame.
that feeling of there's something wrong with me, everybody else has it together.
Yeah.
So easy to slip into on social media, isn't it? The comparisonitis. And
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. But if you are supported by a warm blanket of connectivity and
wow,
then you can break shame when it comes up.
Yeah.
You can keep breaking shame. Obviously, there's nothing like also if you need to go and get extra support. You know,
Yes.
Nothing like that as well. So, but you can build those tools in. Those tools then balance you, and you can hear yourself. If you're not in drama all the time, you can hear yourself, and you have brain space. You have calm space. Then you can hear those dreams. I want to travel. I want to write a book. You might not know how it's going to work out, but the amazing thing is if you've got enough compatriots around you, you might say, look, I really want to go to the Isle of Scilly, and they say, why don't you look it up? And because and then you find yourself going there. Now I say this because it looks like, and that's the thing about social media, it looks like all those people with their travels and their books and their projects, it looks like they know how to do the whole thing. It really does. But I chat to people and I ask them about all these things, and they had to find out. No, they went for a weekend to Venice. I've got a friend who's going to a weekend to Venice next weekend. She had no idea. She just found out how to book somewhere which is self-catering. She found out there's some kind of Venice ball, and she's going to go dressed up by herself because she felt like doing that for herself.
Nice.
Treat. And but she's got loads of compatriots, and she shares with it. She didn't know how to do that. She found out how to do that. But if you can come out of thinking you have to know how to do it all, and realize other people know loads, you don't have to know anything. It's like there's a brain out there of all these people.
So true. Someone knows what you don't know.
Everybody knows what you don't know. And the thing about people like Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, you name a very famous person. Bill Clinton has an assistant who, when he goes to a dinner party, gives him a synopsis of the most crucial points on each person at the dinner party's life.
Wow.
So he's got it on with him, and he can kind of make a connection across the table and say, you know, when you did that scoop on that journalistic scoop on that story in '87, that must have been quite an incredible experience. Now that's intimate. When you're all really prepared like that, that's very, very intimate. But he's been prepared. His assistant did the work. Do you see what I mean? But then he can then make that kind of connection. And of course, he hasn't got time probably to think, oh, I'll do that in dinner party in 6 months' time. He wants to make that kind of connection now. But you can see why that's very sexy. You can see why people want to probably have sex with him, because wow, they know me. Oh my goodness, this person knows me. Yes, they've got a really good researcher and they've done their research, but we can all do that. We can all use the world as an amazing research tool and say, look, I don't know how to do that. Do you?
Oh, I love that idea.
But then it's about collecting people. And if you don't know how to do that, also again, ask. Your local mind will have resources of groups or low-cost counselling. There's 12-step recovery, which is free. Coda, which is for relationships and setting boundaries. There's listening partnerships. Do you know Roman Norris listening partnerships? So it's called handinhandparenting.org, and they have groups in England, and it's all around the world. And it's for parents, but it's also for anyone, even if you haven't got children, to learn how to build a community of listening partners where you book them in. You say, do 2 minutes and 2 minutes, or 5 and 5, or 10 and 10, and someone just listening to you. Brilliant.
Oh, that's powerful, that, isn't it?
Brilliant. And you can have a collection of them.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Tell us about you've got a workshop coming up, haven't you?
Oh, yes, thank you very much. So I think it's very kind. I'm very excited about this. It
looks amazing.
So kind.
Unfortunately, I'm in Glastonbury that weekend. Otherwise, I would be there. But
oh, you're so lovely. I have another one, 19th of May. If you're
okay, 19th of May.
Alternatives to see. I mean, no pressure, obviously, but yeah, I'm so excited because I had an incredible opportunity when I was living in the northwest of England, and I came back to London, and I paint heart paintings, and I sent these heart paintings to Alternatives and the College of
That's one that you've done behind you, isn't it?
Yes, this is one of my heart paintings. Thank you very much. And
I love it.
and I 2003, 2004 to 2008, I was given opportunities by Alternatives and College of Psychic Studies, and I worked for them a few times, and I loved it. The College of Psychic Studies, working there is a most extraordinary experience. It's like being in an ocean of love. It's so full of energy. It's something completely different. It's almost like you're not a teacher. It's like you're being taught through. And so to go there, I'm going to teach this very deep connecting method to go right inside you, inside your body, and reach for you. And we do know this, but we often need the kind of someone else to reach into our essence and really explore and open and visit ourselves and visit another. So we're going to do that work, because I believe when you get that chance to really go deep inside, you know all the answers.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that too. Yeah.
We need another being. We need that presence of the other being to really go deep.
Yeah.
And to do that at the College of Psychic Studies, oh my goodness, because you're already supported. It's so rich.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you been there?
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
To work.
Even like the paintings are just exquisite, aren't they, as well? Just,
I mean, that changes your life just to look at the paintings.
Yeah.
And I suppose the thing about life, everything's intention. Everything is intention, in the sense that it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And so it's not being in a couple, it's how are you in the couple.
Yeah.
It's not writing a book, it's how are you writing a book. And so to do a workshop that's a really deep heartscape, going deep into your heart and your essence, and allowing that to open, because I believe you're birthing yourself, really. It's like you're your own doula, you know, you're birthing your consciousness. When you're allowing yourself to go that deep, you allow another expansion to open up. And so that's what I feel we'll have in that space. It's already like a birthing space. So I feel like I know someone who went to do a workshop in the college, and for 6 months after, she was in bliss. Now, of course, that was probably that workshop and that teacher and that combination, but it was also at the college. I think there's something about that college that you know, like certain places like Iona, Glastonbury, there's certain places that you feel that connectivity. And so I'm really excited to work there and do a workshop about really connecting in with yourself and exploring, who am I? What's my essence? Because people sometimes struggle with that. What's my purpose? Who am I? Well, because then once it's made conscious, I believe it can unfold, because we see it. We can then let other people see it. Then people say, oh, why don't you do this? Or have you thought of that? Because we're in that empowered vulnerability, safe vulnerability. Like we're allowing it to be with people we're checking out, we feel safe with. So it's still opening the heart, but with that adult part of us alive. So it's the both and. You want, like driving, you want to go in the flow, but you want to keep the eye on the mirror.
Yeah. And I love what you say as well about how you've got that real understanding of kind of there's the bit that's a bit more mysterious and woo and spiritual and untangible, but then actually when you look to science and you look to therapeutic evidence-based practices, that actually you can find it there as well.
You can explain it if you like to. You can explain all of it in different ways.
Yes.
And that's very helpful, I find. It's very helpful because different people need different language.
Yes, they do. Yes.
And that was the great thing about going to study, was I learnt how to use different, and I'm still learning that, but I learnt how to use different language. And it's the same with the couples who are not having sex, for example. I learned, that there's these gear sticks, and gear stick 1 is affection. Hi, how are you? How are you feeling? Gear stick 2, 3, sensuality. Can I give you a sensual massage? Can I touch you? Can I hold you? Gear stick 4, 5, erotic, hard and soft. That's like, should we dress up and go out? What's your fantasies? What would you like to do? Should we play with things? Would you like to role play? Would you, how can we make this, can I flirt with you? How can we make this erotic? Gear stick 6, getting into play, oral play, different. Gear stick 7, intercourse. Well, of course, often when couples have had a sexual difficulty, one of the couple might be focused on, we're not having intercourse, but the other one's feeling like, well, where's all my gear sticks? Nobody's flirting with me, connecting with me. Nobody cares about me. I feel like I'm your object. I don't want to be anyone's object. So it's teaching the couple how to understand each other's language.
Yeah.
They've got to learn. She if it's called Richard and Eileen, she's got to learn Richardish. He's got to learn Eileenish. And then they've got to learn a we space of how they come back together in different ways. Does it make sense? So what I really loved is like, I believe everything's in the heart. And when we connect with the heart, we open up wild things, and that we expand in different ways that we might not have realized. And I believe they're already inside us. But until we're open, we don't let it out. Our books, our compositions, our music, even our partners, I believe, often will appear when we're open, because they could knock on our nose. But if we're not open, how do we see them? If we can't receive them, they could be there. I know, because I've worked with people and they're looking for the one, looking for the one, looking for the one, looking for the one. But they could be in a crowd and they'll be looking over there. The one could turn up. So I feel like this journey with the heart and being open is a really, really, really big deal. But again, how do you be safe to do that? Otherwise, who's going to get out of their 2-mile radius? Who's going to stop doing the things they do? Who's going to try anything different? Who? People will do what feels safe, which is understandable, which is totally understandable. Or couples will go around the same old, same old. They'll do the same old, same old. Why would they do anything different? It feels risky.
Yeah. Makes it's interesting actually, because I pulled some oracle cards before we started talking. And it's just so fascinating what you said. So we started with Mystic Healer. Healing energy flows through you, and I think it's certainly flowing through you. And then, you're gonna love this. So the next one was watching clouds. Lie back, rest and relax.
That's so important. That's so wonderful.
And then what do we end up with after we've had the lie back, rest and relax? Great adventure. Take a risk, venture forward.
That's so exciting.
Isn't that lovely? It just sums up what you've said.
Isn't that lovely? Because you see, when we get regulated, our brain can use its different capacity.
Yeah.
And
because we are capable of, and I think kind of like that's really the message of my book now. It's becoming like, actually, there are incredible capacities that we have. And it is about, and we've been conditioned into only using such a small fraction of what we're capable of, trying to work things out logically, analytically, when actually, when you can open up that creativity, use more of the subconscious mind, clear out the stuff, and in the relationship, that chance for, this stuff from the past happened, let's clear that out. But it is
an extraordinary thing if you are in a couple, and it's not everyone's journey, it's not necessarily
no.
But if you are in a couple, you can really clear stuff out, because that couple will move stuff in you. And then talking about expansion, if you can allow it, and that is a particular thing. How do you learn how to be a we? How do you learn how to say, how do we do this? Because it's tempting for one person to push things and the other person to avoid things. In my work, we call them turtle and octopus. where you have the
oh yeah, you mentioned that before.
Where the octopus is always reaching and the turtle's trying to hide and get safe. And so how do you get that space to be more equal? If you can, then the couple that can help you open up, because you know when someone's really present with you in a calm, lovely, present way, you when you're speaking and you really listen to it, it lights up your brain, and your eyes light up this part of the brain, and you can reach in more and feel more and hear more and see more through someone's kind presence that you trust, that you really feel they are there. So it opens up your world and your dimensions and your dreams and your visions and your adventures and your risk taking. When you get that, you can build that, which is totally possible. And it's learning how to be a we space or a team space.
So not just couples, but kind of
anyone,
community connection
with anyone.
Yeah.
And it's a different paradigm. We've been, probably for very good reasons, in an I paradigm.
Yeah.
You know, either someone is a benign dictator or not so benign dictator. They know everything and everyone else is subjects, or the pressure is each person has to know everything. And the shift, I believe we own this shift now, is the we paradigm. You don't have to know anything, but you have to see what you need to be open to yourself, your own mystery, your own heart, and to relax that and to regulate that. And it's whatever it is for each person. That's why I like the passing clouds. See, passing clouds might be for one person, the river might be for another person, some kind friends might be for another, but what is it that gets you rounded? What is it that gets you so you can let go? And then all these ideas might come or not come or whatever, but in a way it doesn't even matter. What matters is when you're in that place, you feel gratitude, the great attitude,
Oh, great attitude.
Gratitude.
Oh, I like that.
Yes, that's from it's from someone, but I can't remember his name.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Sean de Warren.
Oh, okay.
Yes, from a teacher called Sean de Warren. Gratitude, the great attitude. When we're grateful, and that's a marvelous thing. If anybody wants to do that, I'm sure loads of people do. When we put the perspective of affirming positivity, we see even more positive things. It's just, if you keep detailing every day 5 things that you find really good, and detail why, it shifts you into keeping looking for what's really good.
Yeah, the why is important too, isn't it?
And so, of course, we can start to be grateful for what we already have.
Yeah.
And then it's not this desperate reach to have what we haven't got yet. It's like it might unfold. And the same with couples. Once you start to be grateful, this doesn't mean you should stay in anything that's really bad for someone, not at all. But if you feel like it's good enough to stay, then if you start being grateful and giving your partner appreciation. Thich Nhat Hanh said, if a couple could meet every week for an hour in an outside space, away from the home, in a cafe or something, and they give 10 appreciations each, and then bring the issue that's difficult, he believed that they would solve all their issues.
Yeah, a safe space first.
A safe space first. And so in my work, the key is, if you really understood, if you start to understand how the stress hormones work, then you don't do the difficult on text, email, WhatsApp, Facebook, social media. You don't do it on entrance, you don't do it on exit. You wait till you're settled, and then you ask, can we do a listening, or can we do a communication? And that's the thing, is that if people, and that's the thing about keeping things regulated, is the how of how you do it.
Yeah.
So you can solve lots of things if you do it in such a way that doesn't create drama. And the more you learn how to do that, the more you learn how to keep your life regulated, the more you then let what you want to manifest open up. There's a huge amount to do with support and regulation. And in that space, the space that's naturally yours can open up, because it hasn't got all the clouds, the dark clouds in the way.
Dark clouds, yeah.
It's got those moving clouds, just relaxed clouds. So there you go. Yeah.
Wow. So your workshop is on the
24th of
February.
February
At the College of Psychic Studies.
Yes, College of Psychic Studies, £105. Unless you're a member, it's cheaper. Yeah.
And you've got weekly lives on psychology?
Monthly lives.
Monthly lives.
Next one is the 15th of February for Valentine's. How to take care of yourself, how to look after yourself around Valentine's, because it can be quite a hard thing for people and for couples. This is the irony. When we have such a couple-focused society, we put pressure on couples to be perfect.
Oh, it's the perfect day. Yeah, actually 15th of February is my anniversary with Tony. Because I refused to have a first date on Valentine's Day, so we had it the next
That
day.
would have been quite a tough gig, wouldn't it? That would have been quite a tough first date. Yeah, quite right. It's so lovely, isn't it? So lovely. So yeah, I think that you know, as we, you know, Brene Brown's obviously doing this incredible work with vulnerability, and as we open these doorways, this is the, I was thinking about it this morning, I thought this is the feminine revolution.
Yes.
This is it.
It is. You're quite right. Yeah.
For all of us.
To
open the emotional world up and say we all need connection, and none of us are perfect. We're all learning makey. We're all learning how to do it on the job, and plenty of people know how to do it before me, and I'm going to ask them. No one knows how to do this stuff. We assume so much. You know, when we look at people, we're judging their outsides, thinking they're all just fine. We're all fine. I thought this for a long time, you know, with social media, everybody knows what they're doing. Yes, some people know what they're doing, but the thing is changing all the time. So everyone's learning the next piece of the puzzle. It's the same being in a couple.
Yeah.
It's ongoing learning thing. But as you learn how to do it more peacefully, and that's the tools and the support, or being in a family, if you've got more tools, it'll be easier to be in a family.
Yeah.
Any situation, more tools, more support, more love, more letting go, more clouds moving over the sky. It's going to be a bit easier. But yes, if anybody fancies it, do come. 24th of February, fantastic. Or 19th of May, that's alternatives. That's in London.
Yeah, I can't recommend Cate enough, because I've been to 2 workshops and both have just opened my eyes to more possibilities, to greater connection with myself, and you are the real deal.
So kind. Thank you very much, Jacqui.
Thank you so much. And
bless your heart.
That's just been so lovely.
So lovely. And I do lots of talks. If anybody wants also to go to talks, they can. Yeah. So lovely. Bless your lovely heart. Thank you very, very much.
You.
And see you again.
Yes.
Thank you, Jacqui, for this. Very kind. Very kind.
Thank you.
Yeah.